Hello, everybody. My name is McConaghy. I work here at Ocean Protocol on the Special Projects team, which is kind of like the miscellaneous team. My main message today in this presentation is that marketplaces can now start building on Ocean Protocol. Until very recently, this was not so easy. I mean, people have been sort of fiddling around and running into all kinds of issues, but now things are in a position where marketplaces can get going and start building. And so I'm going to show you how to do that and what kind of support resources we have. Okay, so suppose that you are somebody who has a lot of data. Okay, maybe you're an almond salesperson and you've got a pile of data, but you don't know how to sell that data. I mean, you've maybe been accumulating it for 40 years. It's kind of sitting there. It's not your main business, right? You're in the business of selling almonds, not selling data about your almonds. But yet, people who are in the almond business, they care about these long-term almond data. It's just, you've never been able to sell it to them because there's been no way for you to build a marketplace. That's what Ocean Protocol lets you do. So, now I just wanted to insert this quick note here, because I don't know how to use those other kinds of notes. That initially we're assuming that publishers and data marketplaces are basically the same person, because they aren't going to be separated. In the future, marketplaces and publishers will be separate. Publishers will basically be controlling the access to data marketplaces, or to data, and marketplaces will connect to publishers and kind of like let people find the available data sets that are available, and they'll also hook you up with the publishers. But initially, like the marketplace and a publisher are one and the same. So this person, for example, who has all this data about almonds, they would be both the publisher and the marketplace of their own data. So what do they do with their almond data? First of all, they need to store it somewhere. And today we support Microsoft Azure Blob storage, which actually Blob stands for binary large objects, which is Microsoft's word for files. I don't know why, but anyway, it's kind of like Amazon S3, which has been around longer, so people are more familiar with that. In Amazon S3, you can have buckets. In Microsoft Azure Blob storage, you can have blobs, and in there you can put files and folders and so on. And so you put your data there, and we've also got Amazon S3 support in the pipeline. It's not working yet, but it's coming soon. Okay, so today you store your data in Azure Blob storage, and we have a tutorial about how to set that all up. And to do that, to find it, you would just go to docs.oceanprotocol.com, and there's a section about tutorials, and one of the tutorials is how to set up your Azure storage to store your data. And you get a whole bunch of credentials that you put into a file, and that's how you basically give access. So that exists, and you can use that. That's kind of one of the first steps you're going to have to do. And here's all the different credentials you'll get. You'll put those into a file. And here is this nice GUI thing that Microsoft just came out with very recently called Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer. So this is how you'd actually transfer files from, say, your local computer into Azure Storage. And it's very easy to use. It's much like Microsoft File Explorer, except for it's connecting to remote storage. And so, here your Blob, for example, and you can put files in there. And okay, so now you've got a bunch of data stored in your Microsoft Azure Blob storage. That's what's represented by this icon here. But it's kind of sitting there all by itself. It's not connected to anything. It's kind of, all alone in this ocean. So what you need to do is start hooking it up to services that control access and give people a marketplace where they can find it, and hook to blockchain and a whole bunch of other stuff. And so that's all of this. And I'll just walk you through this. This is one example setup. This is something you can deploy today. So here's this storage in Azure. So that's where your files and data live. And you would hook that to what we call Brizo, which is a Python app server, basically, that you run. And it connects to your data, your Azure storage. And it basically controls access of consumers of that data to your data, to your files or whatever. And to do that, it has to connect to Parity Secret Store, which is a way of storing keys and secrets across many different servers. So like maybe 10 servers, and maybe say 7 of them have to provide a chunk before you can get enough data to like unlock it. And there's also some smart contracts in an Ethereum blockchain. So you could have, for example, locally, you can just run a Parity Ethereum node locally, and you can run all of the Ocean smart contracts in there. I think today we have something like maybe 10 smart contracts. So you'd run all those in a local Parity Ethereum node, and that also connects to Brizo, because it uses all of these things in order to basically give access to your data. Okay, and so sort of these are the things that Brizo is going to in the future just be the thing that publishers run. That's the access control sort of piece. There's also Aquarius, which is more the marketplace side of things. So that's where a marketplace will kind of store its inventory of all the assets and services that it has available in its store. So you can, you can kind of think of that as a store. And so it's connected to its own local database. We support 3 different databases. The default these days is MongoDB, but you can also use Elasticsearch and BigChainDB to store data for Aquarius. And the data that gets stored there is actually only metadata. It's just a short little bit of JSON that says, this is a data, it's a file with a bunch of almond data, but the actual data lives over here in Azure storage, or whatever in the future. So it's sort of the catalog, like an IKEA catalog. It doesn't actually have the furniture. It only has, like, it says, there's the thing that says the price, and it says the color, but the actual sofa is over here. Okay, and then to give a user interface to people so they can interact with all of this stuff. So we call this stuff down here as level 1, and this 2, and this is level 2, and then we call this level 3, because this is sort of like the user interface level. And we have a bunch of libraries that let people in different languages build stuff to interact with the rest of the Ocean ecosystem. And we call all those libraries Squid. So there's a Squid.js, which is the JavaScript library. There's Squid Python, Squid Py, and there's also Squid Java, and probably others in the future. And so one of the things we built using Squid.js is a demo marketplace and sort of publisher app that we call Pleuston. I've never quite figured out how to pronounce it. But in any case, I'll show you what it looks like. So there's an example of what it looks like. If you look at it in your web browser, it's basically a serverless application written in React. And you can publish data sets, you can order them, you can see the data sets you've gotten in the past. And it also, you can connect to a local, like a wallet like MetaMask, and it shows up here your Ethereum balance and also your Ocean token balance. And that app is basically there. It's very, very simple. You can look at it and use it as a starting point if you want to build your own marketplace app. And okay, so that exists. And in the future, you can have lots of different kinds of apps that you can build. So this is just an example of a WooCommerce-based app for some kind of teas. Today, we're not integrated with WooCommerce, but like in the future, sure, why not? And there's lots of open source e-commerce apps out there that you can integrate with. Okay, and so if you want to start building marketplace apps on top of what I've just described, you can go to the docs, which is at docs.oceanprotocol.com. And it walks you through sort of like the core concepts, some setup guides. So there's setup guides there for marketplaces, for example. And then tutorials. So I showed you one of those tutorials earlier, the one about how to set up Azure storage. But there's also a tutorial about just getting Ocean tokens and Ether for whatever, say, test network that you're connecting to. And there's also tutorials that we're just working on today to build a really super basic app, starting with just basic, extremely simple React boilerplate, and just doing the simplest possible thing. Okay, and so that exists, and you can go there today. And that's all I have to say. So my main message is marketplaces can start building on Ocean today.